Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome to another video from Habas Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a sweet potato and dal pie. So to get started, we'll go through the ingredients. So it's 1 medium onion or just 2 small onions. There'll be 2 medium carrots, a thumb of ginger, there'll be 2 cloves of garlic, and then a tablespoon of curry powder. Now if you don't have curry powder, you can just use, there's a spice blend that you can use. I'll leave the details to that in the description, or you can follow the recipe blog. There'll be a stock cube, a vegetable stock cube that is, or this will be 4 teaspoons of powder. There'll be 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 90 grams of dried lentils, then just some chopped coriander leaf, and some sweet potato to top the dal. I'm just going to use 700 grams, so there's about 750 before peeling. I'm also going to stir in some spinach at the end. So let's get started. So to start, I'm going to peel and chop the onion. Before I do that, I just need a bowl. So finely chop the onion. And for the carrots, they need to be peeled and then just quartered. Okay, and the same for the ginger. So let's just peel it. And then just finely chop it, or you can grate it if you like. And last but not least, the garlic. So again, this is just finely chopped. Or use a mincer if you have one. So that's all the veg chopped and ready to saute. So you need a large saucepan for the next step, and just put it onto a medium heat. And to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Now as usual, you can use your choice of oil. So I'm adding all the vegetables together. I'll be sautéing them for just up to 5 minutes, just until they're all softened and ready to add the spices. So with the sautéing, obviously the idea is just to keep it all moving around the pan so that nothing sticks. Not that it should with this amount of oil in here anyway. The carrots are the ones to keep an eye on. They'll take the longest to soften, so once they're done, everything's ready. Okay, so that's been a good 5 minutes now. So I'm just going to reduce the heat a little bit and start adding the powders. So firstly, just a 1 tablespoon of curry powder. Now, I mentioned before you can use a sort of a blend of different spices to make a curry powder if you don't have one. But the good thing about using a curry powder is you can buy different strengths. So this is a medium, but if you don't like it very spicy, you can use mild, or if you like it spicier, you can use hot curry powder. We just go with a medium because it's sort of a compromise for both of us. So just stir that in, coat all the vegetables in it. What you also need to do at this point is boil 3 cups or 750 millilitres of water. So we're going to add those straight in. So once your kettle's boiled, or you've got your boiling water ready, as I said, it's 750 millilitres, which is about 3 cups. So I'm just going to pour it into a jug so I know how much I'm using. And we'll get that straight in there before everything starts to stick to the pan. Okay, so the idea is to try and bring that up to the boil, and while you're doing that, add either your 1 stock cube or 4 teaspoons. Now 4 teaspoons is what it says for this brand which we use. There's 4 teaspoons per 750 mils. Again, just stir that in. So as you can tell, we've already got a lot of flavours in there. We've got 4 different vegetables. We've got the curry powder and we've got the vegetable stock, which in itself will have many different vegetables in it. So at this point you can season it if you want. I don't usually feel the need to, because as I said, there's a lot of flavour in there already. So once that's up to the boil, it's just a case of adding the 2 remaining ingredients, which are 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, and then the 90 grams of dried lentils. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, but they obviously bulk up as they start to absorb the fluid that's already in there, so the stock. So just stir those in. So the idea now is to keep that at a boil for about 20 minutes. And during that 20 minutes the water should just reduce down until it's almost gone. So while that's boiling, it's time to prepare the sweet potatoes. You need to bring some water up to the boil obviously as well. I'm just going to do that on my hob over here. So as I said, just peel the sweet potatoes and then just try to chop them into even sizes so they all boil evenly. So now that they're all chopped, I've brought my water up to the boil, so I just take that and then put the sweet potatoes straight in to that boiling water. and get that straight onto the boil. So they're going to boil for 15 minutes. So once your dal is ready, you can take it straight off the heat. You don't want to leave it on there for too long because it will start to burn to the bottom of the saucepan. I'm going to take it straight off. And just before we put that into the dish, I'm going to stir through the spinach so that that sort of wilts up and absorbs some of the moisture. Just going to stir it straight through. So it's just a couple of handfuls of spinach, and as you probably know, that will shrivel up. It always seems like quite a lot to start with, but it will just get less and less. So give it a good stir through. Just keep stirring until it's like fully wilted, otherwise when you put the sweet potato on top, some of it will sink through. So I'm using an 8" by 8" dish. Obviously you just use whatever you've got of about that size. I'm just going to tip it in to form the bottom layer and just spread it all the way out over the dish. It's a good idea just to press it in, just make sure there's no gaps in this sort of top surface, so that when you get the mashed potato on there, it won't sink through or anything like that. So that's been about 20 minutes now for the potatoes as well, so I'm going to take those off the boil and then drain them. Just move this. So I always find it a good idea just to put it straight back into the saucepan and use the saucepan to mash. So some recipes for sweet mashed potato call for yogurt or milk, or something, a few ingredients like that. I prefer just to use the potato on its own because it is already sweet and it doesn't need sweetening, and if you boil it for long enough, it turns creamy enough as well. So once you've mashed it, it gives a nice consistency. You can see the consistency there. You can see that that's going to hold together when you put it on top of the dal. So all I'm going to do just before putting the sweet potato on is just sprinkle a little bit of coriander leaf. And that's just on top of the dal. And then we can start spooning the sweet potato on top. So just try and do it in sort of a thin layer. It obviously depends what size dish that you're using. The sweet potato might require a sort of different thickness of layer. And there we are. That's an even layer of sweet potato mash on top of a lentil dal. So as I said earlier, one thing you can do to enhance the texture of the sweet potato mash is you can add like a plant-based yogurt or milk, or even a margarine, like a olive spread or something like that. I just prefer to leave it as it is. I prefer the natural taste of the sweet potato. So feel free to try it however you like. So one other thing you can do just to sort of decorate it a bit is just run a fork through it, just like they do with a shepherd's pie here in the UK. It just gives it a decorative texture on top, that's all. And that will keep in the fridge for 2 to 3 days. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and comment. I'll see you in another video.